Yes, so we were talking about the globalization. Now, what does this globalization include? Progress in communication. How do we communicate with other countries? Transport and technology. During the 20th century, okay, I have to read this, I just broke it up. Progress in communication, transport, and technology during the 20th century has enabled us to overcome geographical boundaries and has revolutionized our way of living. The world is linked as never before. Economies, societies, and cultures have been connected through a global network, not only in India but throughout the world. Now, what does this mean? See, there was a time when we were not able to travel. Either we had to travel by bus. Now, let me just go back a little bit. Like, I'll take my example. My father went to school walking. By the time he started working, like my father's father was an engine driver. He was in the Indian Railways. At that time they had no parts, it was called the Indian Railways. So during the British time also it was called, after the British time or between that I don't remember exactly. So he was a driver of the engine, and he used to drive the engine. Mostly were goods, passenger trains were very less, so traveling and connectivity was very tough. Newspaper used to come in late, even people used to get their milk also delivered late. I am talking about in the year 84, 85, there were places which didn't receive newspapers. Mobile phone out of the question, telephone also out of the question. It was so remote. But slowly the revolution, once the changes, when it started, the changing happening, we started to get connected. We have flights. Before we had only flights to all metropolitan cities. You get down at a metropolitan city, again you take a train from there and you travel, or you go by bus or you go by road. That improved. We had all flights. Now today we can go to any state which has an airport. We can go from any place, or we can get a connecting flight. Like we travel from here to Delhi, we go by train, again from Delhi we take another train, like that. You can fly with a plane and go. Before it was letters, telegrams, then we had emails, right? We had pagers, we had then came the pagers, then came the SMS. Now we have WhatsApp. Instant, we can talk all over the world with anybody. After the internet has come in, the revolutionary has changed. So not only between our cultures, we can get to know other cultures. Now you sit at home and get your stuff. You want to order a pair of jeans, you get a pair of jeans. You want to order a fridge, you get a fridge. So everything is at your doorstep. In a rather sense, if I take it in a negative way, we have become more lazy instead of moving around. Okay. Globalization has resulted in spreading information and ideas. Economically speaking, it has increased money flow, investment, and international trade. This has brought all the countries into a single giant world market. We will learn with the help of two case studies how historical and geographical factors influence regional diversity. Now, economically, people from abroad are coming into India. We are going from there. We are going to work in USA. We are going to work in Germany. We are working in Russia. We are getting more money. That money we are bringing into India. We are spending it in our country. The non-resident Indians, the NRIs. Okay. Then the Ambanis. Then the big shots, the Tatas, the Birlas. They are investing money. Taking loans from banks, investing money, getting with foreign people in touch. Their collaboration, things are coming in here. cars are made, bikes are made, so money inflow has started. We get foreign cars into our country. We also export our things, goods to foreign countries. So that thing has been going on since history. If you go back into history, you will see that the barter system. We get our fighter planes from Russia. We get our fighter planes from France. We all planes are made in France, the best planes. So these things are happening. These days we are wearing all Levi's, Lee and whatnot foreign brand jeans we are wearing, denims. So that trade is happening. So trade and plus that culture is also coming into us. Okay. Although how we will study the historical and geographical factors, what happened in our geography and our history, that our this diverse culture has an influence on our every state. Instead of we are not going global anymore, inside our country. Kerala. We have two case studies. One is Kerala and one is Ladakh. So I'll not take this further today. I'll keep it till here so that in the next class we'll be able to do this and complete it. Or we can do one thing. I'll read for you this part and explanation I'll give it to you in the next class. So that will be some lines ahead. Kerala is a narrow strip of land between the Arabian Sea and the Western Ghats. In the southwest corner of India, it is full of coconut trees and has beautiful beaches. Kerala has the highest rate of literacy. Women in Kerala hold a high position in the society. People of many religions live together in harmony, together happily. Hills and valleys. Kerala has high mountains which have deep valleys and are covered with forest. Cash crops like tea, coffee, cardamom is elaichi are grown in the mountain slopes on large farms called plantations. Darjeeling also has tea. The largest tea selling in Darjeeling and Assam. Kerala has also got tea, but Kerala is mostly more famous for coffee. See, Kerala is supposed to be called God's own country. That God has made this country. It's a beautiful state. Midland plains. What are the plains inside the place? Because it's a coastal area, the sea area, In this region, the hills are not very steep. It's not very steep means difficult to travel, or rather pointed. The valleys are wide and are dotted with paddy fields. The higher lands and hill slopes have plantations of rubber, fruit trees, tapioca, and other cash crops like pepper. Pepper is your kali mirch which you call here. Coastal belt, now towards the seaside. This belt is comparatively plain. Large rice or paddy fields and groves of coconut trees are found. Kerala is a high producer of coconuts. Backwaters, the sea water which it comes into the land and the water does not go back is called the backwaters. That's another place you should travel. If you ever get money, if you save up some good pocket money, and if your parents want to go for a holiday or your relatives want to go for a holiday, or once you grow up, please try and visit Kerala. It's a wonderful, beautiful place. So nice people are there also. Literacy 99.97 I guess, or 98, or maybe 99 also. So everyone is educated. Backwaters. The backwaters are a peculiar feature of the state. They are a network of canals and lakes and are fed by as many as 38 rivers. The chief mode of transport is by boat. So the backwaters you go around in boats also. Like you have houseboats in Kashmir, you have houseboats in Kerala also. But this is a seaside climate, and that is a hill cold climate. Different type of climate, but it's wonderful. Rivers. There are 44 rivers in the state which begin from the Western Ghats. They are now being harnessed for power generation and irrigation. The backwaters and the inland waterways have helped in the growth of coir industry. Coir, this coir ropes which we have, which we say nariyal rassi, or the nariyal, the coconut ropes, the coir which happens. Then we have that jute type of thing, that which we have those strings, that is there. It is the oldest traditional cottage industry in the state. Coir is made out of coconut husk and is transported through waterways. Fishing is a flourishing industry in several parts of the state of Kerala. Is famous for rosewood and sandalwood carvings, brass and bell metal lamps, and gold jewelry. Famous is for sandalwood. Sandalwood is very. If you have heard of Virappan, the smuggler of sandalwood, he was from Kerala. He had done some smuggling in Kerala, Karnataka, and all that sides. Kathakali is a form of dance drama, and Mohiniyattam, a classical dance form of Kerala. Kalariya Payattu is a famous martial art form of this state. Guys with swords and shields, they have that martial art type. It's very famous and very good for your health. So Kathakali is from Kerala. Mohiniyattam is a classical dance of Kerala. Kathakali is a dance drama, and Kaliyara Payattu is a famous martial art from the form of this state. I have to pronounce it properly. Kalari Payattu. Onam is the main festival of the state. The snake boat races during the festival are a popular tourist attraction. Magnificently decorated snake boats take part in the boat race. The Sabarimala Ayyappa temple and the Bhagavati temple of Attukal are famous pilgrim centers in Kerala. The variety of life in Kerala can be seen in the religious and secular festivals which form an integral part of its cultural heritage. Now this is down in the southwest coast. We have Kerala here. I have read this. I'll give some more explanation. Boat race is very famous. You have these long boats like snakes, and they have got hoods like that. A lot of boatmen keep on rowing this boat race. Onam is their festival of harvest time. You can call it a New Year thing. Onam. So Onam is in Kerala. Pongal is in South India and Tamil Nadu. So this is the culture. So one culture we have down south, and we'll go Ladakh in the top north. What are the cultures there? But we are all inside India. Okay. So I'll come back in the next class. Till then, you take care of yourselves, be good, be safe, be happy, do your studies, and do whatever you want after your studies. Love your parents and respect them. God bless. Bye bye. Class 6. See you soon.